We're sitting here in lovely Barcelona with Michael Kessler, who is the CEO of ReviewPro. Michael, it's great to have you here. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Andrew. Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure, absolutely. Michael, I'd like to start with your background a little bit. Can you talk us through your career path so far up until where you are today?
Okay. Well, good question. So I'm German, to start with. And in my academic career, I studied computer science and economics in Heidelberg. And also during my studies, I've always been very entrepreneurial. So I started my own businesses while I was a student, and was a software business as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we were doing IT. We were also selling software, and that brought me into lots of different organizations from there on. Working with different technologies. Eventually, my company was acquired in 2002,
mm-hmm.
Which then brought me ultimately back to Barcelona, which I'm here for the last 13 years.
Yeah, and it must have been hard for you.
Yeah, it was terrible. The weather was so good, and this is home now. Barcelona is home.
Yeah.
I'm living here. I have my family here. I have 2 lovely kids here.
Lovely.
Love it. It's great. Work for an amazing company, ReviewPro. Yeah, and we've started. I've worked for a company for about 10 years now, almost going 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Started as a VP of sales, and then moved up. And since beginning of last year, after the acquisition of Shiji as well in 2017, became the CEO at ReviewPro.
Right, yeah, we're going to come to that. I'm going to ask you about that transition for you, but before we do, could you give us a little bit about ReviewPro's history and global footprint today, and
sure.
also how, when you became a Shiji company, what role did that play in your products and culture overall?
Right, so about the footprint, ReviewPro, we started more than 10 years ago, and we have clients out of all different segments, pretty much in more than 150 countries today. So we work with all types of accommodation providers, destinations. So everybody within the hospitality industry that is looking for user-generated content and its analytics. Yeah, there has been a time we called ourselves a big data company. Everybody was using that term. I think today we don't use it so much anymore. At least I can't see it.
Yeah, it's probably a good thing.
It has been used a lot. Yes, that's true in various different ways. So, and we provide what we call guest intelligence solutions. Yeah, and our main clientele is accommodation providers, hotels, service apartments, and we provide what we call online reputation management solution. We provide a survey product, and we provide a workflow product. And our latest product is what we call guest experience automation, which combines a unified messaging product, artificial intelligence to help hotels answer guest questions that come in via chat. Today we all chat. We don't phone so much anymore. Email. Not so much today is, we all WhatsApp or WeChat or Telegram or Line, Viber, Instagram, Google Messages. So they're all out there, and hotels get a lot of requests. They also get contacted, and ReviewPro also provides, ReviewPro has a guest-first culture, and so we also provide hotels with tools and ability to manage that interaction as well.
And in terms of global footprint, what does that look like?
Well, ReviewPro, in terms of, so we have a team. ReviewPro has about 110 employees globally, and Barcelona is where the company was founded.
Yep.
It's the headquarters, so we have about 80 employees in Barcelona, and then we have offices in Singapore, in Atlanta, and we also have people remotely, for example, working in Australia.
I'm sure that's well appreciated by the people in Australia. Are they Australians, or are they actually Europeans?
They are Australians. They are Australians.
Okay.
Yeah, working out of Brisbane.
Yeah. Oh, it's a nice part of the world.
It is.
Very good. Okay, great. So, coming to your position now as CEO, you came into the role pretty much, if I'm correct, just as the crisis started. So from your personal perspective, what lessons, what learnings did you take on board, and what radical changes did you have to make during that initial process? And from that, what lessons perhaps will you take with you for the next crisis? Because I'm sure there's going to be another one down the road at some stage.
That is correct. We did plan differently for 2020. Yeah,
I think most people did. Yeah,
we had a lot of plans for the company and business plans. Obviously, all of those had to be rethought. Coming into, I remember vividly. I think it was March 15 when we closed the office. Yeah, I mean, we knew something was coming because we also had clients in China and APAC. But it was funny until the time it really arrived heavily in Spain. We still had a hope, at least I guess, like everybody, that it's not going to be that bad, and maybe it's not going to hit us that hard as it has in the end. So, and clearly, we had to adjust, because all of a sudden what we had planned, whenever you do planning in business, you have some empiric data. You can look back at the history, you can look back at the decisions that was made in the past, and then from there you draw conclusions to move forward. Now, I have never run a business in a pandemic. Yeah, so everything that you knew or learned, you had to rethink, and it was a challenge. On a business level, but I think one of the things, because I've been so long with the company, one of the things I wanted to do was drive some cultural change within the organization. Yeah, and together, I have a great executive team. There was still something that we were doing. Yeah, and we always wanted to put the employees at the center of what we do, like take care of employees, take care of the clients, of course. The hospitality as a whole, right? Now, doing that, of course, like everybody, we did business contingency plannings. We had, various gameplays at the start. But one thing that was clear for me was, yes, the company is in a crisis, yeah. But with the acquisition of Shiji, we could finally celebrate our success and cement, our role in the industry, and the field and industry that we actually built. There are very few companies that are as old as us, and all of those we built that part of hospitality. Yeah, and so we said, I think a lot of companies did furloughs. Eventually, we decided to not furlough anyone. Yeah. One of the drivers was, why do our employees have to pay for something? It wasn't their fault. Yeah, and I wanted to do everything in my power to avoid, furloughing employees, because one of the things we thought of was, try to survive today, but also how do we thrive tomorrow? Yeah, and what we have seen today is an exodus of talent from our industry, and it's something we wanted to avoid at all costs and at all means. Yeah. And so when we provided the plan to Shiji, our owning company, they were very supportive of the plan. And so as a matter of fact, we didn't furlough anyone. We were able to keep our service levels for our clients up. Yeah, I think we've been rewarded multiple times for that decision. It was a very risky decision. Yeah, and of course we had to be more a partner than a vendor to our clients. Yeah, and as everybody, we needed to give deferred payments, financial relief. So I mean, there was a lot of stress on ReviewPro as well. But at the same time, we also were able to increase revenues. We were able to increase revenues of our existing clients. We won fantastic new clients. Yeah, over the course of the pandemic, that decided for ReviewPro for various reasons. But as a whole, as a company, the executive team took a pay cut last year. As a sign also to the organization, we want to make this work. We all have to do some sacrifice. We're not going to get out whole at the other and being whole, any of us. Yeah, on one or the other level. And so the executive team, a great team behind me, their teams behind them. And so to your question, being ready for another pandemic, it also allowed us to build a very agile workforce. And prior to this, we were used to work 100% from the office. Yeah, and today we have a fantastic office here, as you can see, but we have people working from all over. We have people working from Barcelona. We have people that are in Barcelona, but they spend periods of time in other places. ReviewPro has about 26 different nationalities. So you can imagine during a crisis, we have single moms in the executive team. We have single moms. We have individuals, young people living in flat shares, families, kids don't go to school. So we have a lot of diverse, it's a very diverse company. And so, of course, we needed to make sure that everyone's okay. I mean, we went even to the lengths to, we had very young people in our sales team, in the biz dev team. We had to buy them, desks and chairs because they were in flat chairs. They only had a bed. Yeah, so we had to. So the company went out there and they made sure that we all, as a unit, go in as a team and we come out as a team. And it sparked a tremendous willingness from everybody to chip in. We were cross-departmental, so people on the sales team all of a sudden were in product, were in account management, were in finance to go there and help where help was needed. Yeah, so, and it was very, it was very motivational, and probably one of the the proudest moments in my career to see how, as a team, everybody came together to make sure, okay, yes, we can do it. Yeah, and even though right now, the hotels are closed, the situation is very, very grim, we still believe that there is at some point there is an end to it. Yeah. Yeah, and we will see that we'll get out of it. And so we're going back to normality right now. We, in fact, have increased our headcount and everything by by 20% over the last couple of months because we're getting ready to thrive again. Yeah, and so with Shiji helps, we were able to build new technology, new products. And like I said, guest experience automation was planned before the pandemic to help with operational excellence at a very cost-effective level, to automate many of those routine processes within hotels, questions, when is check-in, check-out, how do I get to the airport, can I get room service? Can I get another pillow? Things where you don't really generate a lot of guest satisfaction. This is something that is expected, and now hotels can actually deliver this. And we know today that there is a staffing issue in hotels. When I speak to CEOs of chain of hotels, they're in the middle of doing housekeeping. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was at the hotel in London. It was for a weekend. It was for a private trip. The hotel had like 80% occupancy, but the bar shut at 9:30. Yeah, and it was a bit of a surprise.
Was that because there was no staff, or was that because of COVID regulations?
Because there was no staff.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's my point. Yeah, that is my point. And so we need to help, and that's one of the things we do. We need to help the hoteliers, who in fact, over the last, I think, 2 years, have shown a lot of a spirit of innovation. Yeah, I think we need to give them credit because they did. Sometimes, we talk about the speed of innovation in hospitality, but I think during COVID, a lot of hoteliers did definitely step up, and I think we need to give credit back there as well.
Yeah, yeah. No, I certainly recognise the fact that from a staffing perspective, everyone from an operational level is feeling that pinch at the moment. And I think where technologies can be applied to help automate any of those processes where it's practical and it makes sense, then that should definitely be the case. One thing I did want to check with you on as well was you said earlier that you saw actually an increase of customers during the crisis per se.
Yeah.
Were they people that were, or hotels that were considering their tech stack overall as a review, as a whole, or were they just looking to fill perhaps gaps for the types of solutions that you offer? Because from my perspective, I think this crisis would have been an ideal time for hotels to completely do an audit of what they have in terms of technology, and perhaps just wipe out any old proprietary solutions and bring in fresh, new, open, cloud-based solutions.
So I think it's a mix. It definitely is that there was time. Yeah. Unfortunately, we've seen a lot of colleagues leave, furloughed, is on corporate levels. Yeah. Many departments over time have literally been completely replaced or eliminated. Speaking until still today. Yeah. But ReviewPro is in the market for such a long time, so we are known for our products, we're known for what we do, but as business goes, when new technology gets implemented, and especially we have clients, we train 10, 15, 20,000 people. So when you change a solution on that scale, it is very costly.
Yeah, it's a big process.
It's a big process. And so I think, but this time also gave time to the organizations to really, like you say, look at the value, because change faces always resistance. And as if you want to facilitate change, you need to make sure that whatever they're losing, they're not losing anything with the change, and the net gain needs to overcome that energy of resistance. Yeah, and you need time to work on it, because many times ReviewPro's approach is always, we focus on providing hoteliers with solutions and a platform to generate and create great guest experiences. Yeah, whatever we do is about the guest and the guest experience, and we don't branch out into other into other parts of the industry. Sometimes it seems very interesting, but we always go back to our core competence. That's why we go very deep in what we do. Yeah, and so while on the surface many companies do what we do, on an enterprise level, on an independent hotel level, for different segments, service apartment, luxury, business travel, our solution always provides the largest depth in value that we provide to the hotels, and it takes time to realize and to understand this. And so, we can, it's public knowledge. We brought on board companies like Banyan Tree, Phrases, Archipelago, a big group out of Indonesia. Yeah, and they all have said, we've been in touch with you for a long time, but now also we had time to really, look at the tech stack, security, where are your platforms, where are your data centers, right? And the package is and being integrated vertically, without boundaries. I think that just makes a very compelling story for clients, and they've seen it. Truth be told, we have lost clients. Yeah, by stopping contracts. It's not that they move to others, but it's, some hotels don't even exist anymore. They change completely. They move to more like an apartment space type business. So, but I'm happy to say that none of our clients really moved away because there was any issue with service or with product, which was one of the. Even in a crisis, you can find something positive, and helping our clients, building that trust and that loyalty with our prospects and our clients was a big goal throughout the last 2 years.
Okay, excellent. I'd like to talk about now our industry as a whole when it comes to adopting new solutions and new technologies. Historically, and we talk about it a lot, and some people probably roll their eyes when I bring it up all the time, but it's an important topic. And I think the crisis has been an ideal opportunity for change. We've seen other industries, such as retail and fintech, adopt to open
airlines.
solutions, airlines as well, open solutions that are non-proprietary, that integrate easily with each other. And yet we, as an industry, we have solutions in the market that offer those possibilities now, but yet for some reason we still seem to be lagging. I'd like to try to get, from your perspective, why do you feel that, what's stopping our industry from moving forward in that perspective, and why are we unable to move at greater speed for that change?
So first of all, I think I think we all can acknowledge that. I think historically that is correct. And also for me, because I have my hospitality background is limited to ReviewPro. So I'm, for example, I think you grew up in a hotel, and
I did, yes.
And I heard the story. So it's a fantastic thing. So I did not. Yeah. So I come from other industries that are actually very fast-paced, you know, and adoption is high, and speed is high, and time to market is high, and you have to do it because otherwise you just are going to be left behind. Now, but in hospitality, you know, yes, there was a slow pace, and you know, but there are reasons, you know, for all of this, you know, and I think there are many stakeholders that need to take ownership for it. Right, and I think let's talk about some of those stakeholders. I think in general, you know, the fragmentation on the tech side. You talked about open API architecture, and how, you know, tech vendors collaborate together. Yeah, ReviewPro is a very open architecture, and we develop integrations, and if we develop them, we do not charge. You know, there's a few exceptions where there's a price more with a separate vendor that enforces this, but ReviewPro, we believe in generating value, and as the integrations grow, the adoption level grows, and for a SaaS provider, what you need is that your clients are using your product. Right. Yeah. So if we can foster this, we're more than happy. We have a dedicated team just focusing on integrations for the various product lines, and we've done integrations in the past, and we completed them technically, but some of them have never seen the light of day. Why? Because then there was a price stamp put on it, or it was stopped for some other, you know, for other commercial reasons. You know, so I think clearly the vendors in itself need to look at themselves and to see, you know, do they look from a revenue standpoint at those integrations? They look for, you know, how can we create value for our clients? And from a ReviewPro standpoint, you know, we have a business model, yeah, clearly, but the API, I think, a huge amount of plus 70% of all our clients have the API because it's one of the things that we advocate for. Yeah, we have a development platform. You go to developers.reviewpro.com. You can test our endpoints. You can read documentation. If you want to have access to a test account, we give you, we give you a secret. We give you a key, and you can basically play around with, with our data. Yeah. So we have an open backend, and also we develop against, other open backends. And more vendors do this. Yes. Now, but in order to drive this, there needs to be, it needs two sides, or at least two sides to make that happen. And it needs a strong vision coming from the hoteliers, yeah, or from the accommodation providers. Yeah, it's not only hotels, there are others also at play. So, and there are a good amount of fairly advanced hospitality organizations out there. They have also then who believe in the technology vision, but then they also have the staff to it. Yeah, and for example, today, like we spoke before, even the CEO is doing housekeeping. Even though staffing is very limited, over the last couple of months and maybe the last 2 years, we've seen actually hotels innovating at light speed. I want to say comparatively, we say slow pace before COVID, during COVID. We were forced to do it, and the hotels were forced to do it, and the tech providers were forced to do it, and all of a sudden it was actually working.
But wasn't that refreshing to see?
It was amazing.
It was proof that it's possible.
And you can see all of a sudden hotels, they use BI tools, new reporting. We created boot camps, we consulted with clients, we optimized what they were using, even while they were closed. And so I think there is a change, and I don't want to say new normal, but there is a change. And I think, again, we need to give credit back where credit is deserved. And I think hoteliers clearly, it's not that they didn't know, but as we all know, hospitality, one of the things I realized when I started is a very fragmented industry with a lot of stakeholders. And it's not that easy to take a decision, and brand, franchise owners. So there's a lot of people that need to be convinced, and sometimes this is holding back. And the pandemic also has forced us, not to look back to take decisions for the future. No, we needed to look at the data that we have today, and sometimes just make an educated guess. So I think there is a good pace today. I agree. It needs to be more, and it needs to continue. But we have a lot of industry friends. I think they share the same, they share the same philosophy. They're still legacy providers. They come with an old set of beliefs, but eventually, also fueled by the pandemic, I'm fairly convinced that this is going to change, and they have to change as well.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about data. I know we mentioned it earlier, but I would like to drill down a little bit on it by asking, obviously you're a part of Shiji now, and I know Shiji is quite an advocate for open data standards. You guys are certainly supporting that process. But it would appear that a lot of hotel organizations are struggling to have a handle on how to effectively collect and store their own data. That seems to be a common theme, even at the higher levels of our industry. So the challenges that they also get from that is putting in actions of creating and working with single guest profiles. Because single guest profiles is I think, a very big deal for anyone that wants to manage their data. So who, in your opinion, should take the lead on this particular piece? Should it be the hotelier, the operator, or actually the vendors, such as a PMS or a CRS? Or should it actually somehow be a meshing of both?
So there's a lot of data out there, first of all. And everybody collects a lot of data out there. There needs to be, I think, a single source of truth. So it's got to be in an organization. You got to have one leading database. Let's just call it. It could be a CRM system, could be a PMS, it could be a CRS system, could be any kind of system. But it's got to be one single system to lead it. And so, you need two players. You need, on the one hand, you need the hotels with a strong drive and project management to get there, and you need to select the right partner and the right technology to actually that enables you to do so. But it's got to be a partner that has such level of open integration at their core of their business. It can't be like a project. It can't be like a project, because if you want to continue to innovate, you need to find somebody that within their standard product, has it as its core value. Because if I'm a proprietary system and I just develop on custom project any integrations, your integration will fall behind because I'm not going to focus on it. So, and if you provide backends that are open, and you develop yourself on your own APIs. We consume our own APIs that we readily make available online. It's not 100%, but it's very close. And if any endpoints are missing, we're happily to look at how can we publish those. Sometimes there are privacy rules and regulations, data sovereignty that we need to consider. But And when it comes to, and then it comes about to sharing data. How can we share data amongst the different systems? And so ReviewPro not as much is a leading database, but we can enrich guest profiles to a level that allows then the leading databases to segment and customize, because we know every interaction the guest had with the hotel, during the stay, prior to the stay, during the stay, and also post-stay. So we know they had an interaction with an F&B. Was this good or was it bad? And based on that decision, a PMS or a CRM system can take certain action if it is a repeat guest in the marketing side of things, if it is a guest that comes from proximity, if it comes from afar. So we have that data. We don't see ourselves as a leading database, but for example, Shiji Enterprise Platform is, like you say, it's an open technology stack, and we feed data into the Shiji Enterprise Platform. We receive data for transacting what we have to do on our end, and we integrate with other PMS systems, and we've done various integrations on that end, But that's what I say. You take a hotelier that has a strong driver to do so, and a vision, and the knowledge and the capability, and you take a technology provider that really wants to drive that same direction. That can be very beneficial, and it doesn't generate friction, because you only get innovation if it's frictionless, If what I do for my clients is in my own best purpose and good for all of my other clients, ReviewPro, we have not charged any euro or hardly anything for customizations. We charge for reporting, but when it comes to customization, we customize and we give it back to all our clients, because we innovate and build great products alongside our great clients. And the brain trust that we receive from our clients, we make sure we share it. We call it a positive network effect. The more clients we work with, the more inputs we get. It's always like you said, clients influence anything, but they don't decide anything. But they influence every decision that we take. And in the end, they give us their trust, and we take those decisions to allow them to share data, store them, and use them, to their best, to their best benefit.
If we take the theme of next generation of guest intelligence solutions for hotels, could you explain for the viewers what your definition of that is?
So, I think guest intelligence is measuring the guest experience, along the guest journey. And so I mean, guest intelligence starts very early with the looking phase, and before we're talking about operational excellence, because it doesn't really help you to have a full hotel if on Monday you have like 50 reviews with 1 star. In a short term and mid long term, you need to satisfy those guests. Whoever you get as a staying guest, you need to satisfy them, because every staying guest is an advocate or not. It could be a distractor, could be a promoter, and so next gen for us is, there's vast amounts of data, that's already readily there. Then you have the ability to tap into data that, with an in-stay survey, with the whole messaging stack of communication you can have, and the automation to it. To us, this is next gen. This is next gen guest intelligence, because it also includes a more proactive role from the guest. During the pandemic, free cancellations. Hotel had full books, and the next thing is quarantine and on your return, and then they lose half their or 80% of their bookings. Especially in Spain, with all travelers from the UK, this was an up and down. And so for hotels to be able to also communicate, because we cannot only answer incoming questions from travelers, we can also proactively start communicating on messaging channels with guests that have booked with the hotels, and to try and to many times guests book multiple hotels for the same duration. So you need to bring that loyalty in already there, and that contact that makes that guest really, at the end come to stay with you. And so in guest intelligence, ReviewPro, we try to be best of breed. This is our core focus. We want to be the best. We're not in a CRM space. We're not in a PMS space. We only focus on guest feedback and guest interactions and the management and the analysis of it.
So what would you say is your sweet spot in the market then?
To have an all-integrated platform along the guest journey. Yeah, because no silos, no friction points, information flows freely within the application. So we know if you asked for a towel, we know if you had a great experience at the restaurant, we know maybe you saw some good reviews or negative reviews on a website, and during your decision-making process, and then, at the end of the process, we realize it was good or it was negative. And to me, when it comes to next gen, that really I think is at the heart of generating remarkable, guest experience. To know it, and the platform is very descriptive. Yeah, we do, impact analysis. What impacts your guest satisfaction? We have the Global Review Index, has been analyzed by Cornell University and others. It has a real impact on hotel performance and their financial KPIs. Yeah, and using ReviewPro, you have a way. When GMs come in, they always say, okay, so what do I have to do? What do I have to do to increase my guest satisfaction? And the platform, in a very user-friendly way, and with the help of a fantastic customer success team, we help hotels to be self-sufficient. They don't have to come to us and ask us every single question or tell us, it's not a consulting job. We are enabling the hotels to actually, self-serve and be much quicker and much closer to the guests, and to provide really an excellent service there.
In your opinion, what's the definition of a smart hotelier?
Well, first of all, somebody who uses the ReviewPro platform.
I thought you'd say that.
Well, if it's a penalty, you put the ball on the spot. You kick it.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's no one definition. Obviously, from a ReviewPro standpoint, using data to understand your guest and then use the insights to react to it and use it continuously to improve your service. Yeah, there are great hospitality professionals out there, but nobody knows everything. And if anything, we can confirm, or we can highlight, or we can show trends. And so I think the smart hotelier is a data-driven hotelier. Yeah, must be a data-driven hotelier. And so, with what you said, like open technologies, integration, single source of truth, and bringing all of this together into a one of form or another, into an intelligence, I think that would constitute a smart hotelier. Yeah. And there's a lot more to it, but yeah. I think that would be my answer.
Okay, great. And just from a personal perspective now, what's been one of your most memorable travel experiences? Yeah,
there's a few, but I like to travel in Africa. I have to say, so yeah, I think a few years back, I was traveling with my wife, just the two of us in Botswana. I definitely can recommend that. With a pickup truck, a tent on the roof, and sleeping there in wild parks with wild animals. It definitely is an experience.
Like that, because there must be lions and man-eating animals.
You shouldn't go to the toilet at night. Let me say that, because it's not fenced. Yeah, wow, it's not fenced whatsoever.
That's pretty brave, Michael.
Yeah, and you wake up in the morning and then you see all the tracks around it, and you say to one of the people that pay attention there to the park, and they say, "Oh, what is? Oh, this was the lion. This was the hyena."
Wow.
And so yeah, it's amazing, and it's not something that is genuinely made for tourists. It's something you can make a holiday, but you can still experience the country and the people. So it's very...
Sounds amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Amazing. Okay, great. And finally, what's your favorite food and even restaurant, if you can nail one down?
I don't think I can nail one down, but you know, since I live so far away from Germany and for so many years, yeah, when I go back to my little home village, yeah, we still have little wineries. They sell their own produce, and they may be open a couple of days a month, a couple of weeks a year, and when I go back, I always make sure I go visit them and enjoy some very local, authentic food there.
Fantastic. Sounds lovely. Well, Michael, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Great to have you on the show.
Thanks a lot.